Hey guys, what's going on? Xbox All In channel host Sega Forever here. Want to do a little bit of politics. As you can see by the title, we're going to keep on following the Trump effect. This time we're going to talk about Europe because there's a lot of stuff going on in Europe right now. I find it absolutely fascinating because the reaction of a lot of people when President Trump won the election in November, which everybody was, a lot, especially a lot of his detractors, were looking on with bated breath. A lot of these guys didn't want him to win. Fortunately, the American people, saw fit to elect him because they want to change in the country, and so the change is what we're getting right now. Some people don't like it. Most of the people that support him do, and I just think it was just a reckoning that needed to happen. A lot of times when I discuss this kind of stuff with people, man, I mean, aside of a lot of people thinking that I'm just a right wing nut job or a Nazi or that I hate myself or I hate other people out there that think differently. The reality is the way I look at this stuff, and I want people to understand this when they watch the videos on my channel. I am very flippant about it. I find it entertaining. There's a lot of reasons why I do these videos on my channel when it comes to politics, right? And I said, I'll let you guys know, man, I have my own personal opinions when I talk about this stuff, which kind of comes through when I'm talking about it in general, right? But at the end of the day, I am speaking in generalities, right? And I'm just fascinated looking at everything that's going on around the world. And I do point out specific things. Like you guys know how I feel about media bias if you guys haven't been on my channel for a while. I mean, even on the gaming side, I just can't stand it. At the end of the day, I can't stand a lot of these people in these institutions, regardless of what, if I'm talking about pop culture, if I'm talking about politics, if I'm talking about business, anything, right, is that you have these people in these positions that should not be biased when it comes to their opinion. I definitely shouldn't let their opinion influence whatever position you're in, especially if it's a position of service and public service. It's one of the reasons that I did vote for President Trump because I thought he would come in, given the first 4 years he had in 2016 of his presidency, what happened in 2020. I've made it known on this channel that I honestly and 100% believe they stole that election. They can disagree with me what you want, but I think the facts and a lot of the patterns that you're looking at would suggest that. Um, Given his popularity, now I'm not going to say that the other side, people that don't like him, didn't fight hard. They did, right? They tried to stop him by all costs in 2020, and when they realized that they weren't able to do it, right? Because as you guys, if you guys didn't know, something to understand about politics is that it doesn't exist in the extremes. It's just like gaming. Gaming doesn't exist on the sides, whether you're pro one console or pro another console, right? It resides in the middle, right? When all the normies get involved. And the way things were trending in 2020, that even though the push on the left against the push that was coming from the left was strong, it shouldn't have been strong enough to have him lose that election, right? And if you just go back and look at the data, right? Oh, hey Pepe, what's up, dude? Trump says his administration is set to release JFK files with no redactions. Oh, did they do it already? Is it today? I've been out of commission, Pepe. I hurt myself, so I've been trying to recover. In fact, the reason I'm doing this video is because I have to sit on this chair. I have an ergonomic chair with a lumbar support, and it helps me with my back. A lot of times I have to like switch positions when I have back pain, so that's why I'm doing this video now. I figured I gotta sit here, and I've been watching sumo videos, right, which have been interesting to watch. But I like to actually watch that on my TV. Um, but yeah, I think I saw somebody tweet something, but I'll be honest with you, Pepe. I mean, there's so much stuff being put out about the Epstein client list and of course the JFK files, and people are not happy on the Trump side with what's been released, and I was getting into all of that. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I think it's great if they release it. I think it's great if they released it with no redactions, right? Because I think the American public is ready for it. I mean, I know some people might not like it. Some people's ideals might get crushed of what you think the government does and doesn't do. It could be a nothing burger, right? I was of age when Geraldo went into Al Capone's vault and found nothing. I remember that, and I found that to be as more entertaining than if he did find something, because the reactions people had. And I was young back then, and the reactions that people had was worth more than if he actually found something in the vault. I think. right? So could this be one of those situations? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff about JFK, man, that was very, I would like to say based, if I'm using the terminology of today, though, even though he's a Democrat, one of the most popular Democratic politicians ever, right? It's ironic that his nephew is running, um, uh, that ran with like President Trump and is now the head of the Department of Health, which I think was a good selection. Right? A lot of the cabinet picks I like for President Trump because um, it's going to force a lot of these administrations to look within themselves and see what's really wrong, what's really going on. Right? It's been a long time coming, if you ask me. And I understand, dude. A lot of people are being uprooted because of that. There's a lot of good people, not a lot, but there's going to be good people that are going to be affected by this, which I think is sad. That's the only problem I have with it. Um, and not really a problem I have with it, but a lot of people will come at me and say, "Well, he's doing this, he's doing that. Do you blame him for the good people that are going to lose his job?" I was like, "No, I blamed it. I blamed the departments that did what they did. Government service is a higher calling, right? You should be able to trust, just like a lawyer, right? A lawyer is a higher calling, a judge, right? A pastor, right? People that you put your trust in that holds these positions that should have a high moral standard. And obviously, with the way the departments have been running, all the evidence that's been shown, and that's another thing too. A lot of people attack Doge, but the funny thing about it is, Doge isn't doing anything. They're just presenting it for everybody to see. That's how. I mean, that's how untouchable these guys felt they were because they kind of just did it in the open, right? You have to do a little bit of digging, but not much. It's not like you have to go through hundreds and hundreds of hours of code, dude. It was just there for see. Because when you don't have any checks and balances, when you have people that think they're above the law, right? And then that can justify the things that they do, and have nobody push back on it. This is why it's such it's such a traumatic thing because it needed to happen a long time ago. Right? It's just like if you let your health go for years and years and years, then something happens, you end up in the emergency room. Then you go see your doctor, and then your doctor breaks it down for you. It's like, hey, you got to make some changes, or it could be detrimental to your life, right? And then you have to make those changes, and it's hard, right? And that's what we're kind of going through. Sorry, babe, I'm following behind. Trump told reporters Monday that his administration will be releasing 80,000 files. Jeez. Though it's not clear how many of those are among the millions of pages of records that have already been made public. Yeah, yeah, because there's been a lot of stuff, and that's another thing too that the administration and look, I'm not blaming them for this, but there's a lot of stuff already out there of what people think happened, even though there's some of it is just speculation. But there's a lot of stuff. If you go down that rabbit hole, so if you're releasing 80,000 files, you have a group of people that understand certain things about the situation. That if you release certain files, it'll be a nothing burger to them, right? Unless it basically comes out and tells you um, more than what you absolutely know, and if there's evidence to prove all the stuff that you thought it was happening is happening. So you know, it just depends. It just depends. Look, the same thing can be like a lot of people that are out there expecting what was happening with the Epstein files, and what happened on that room. For me personally, um, I'm pretty confident that a lot of this stuff is bad, right? But at the end of the day, I understand that they're juggling a lot of stuff. And so it's not that it's not on my priority list. It's up there because I think people should be held accountable, most definitely, and they need to be, man. If you're gonna try and bring back trust in government entities, man, this needs to happen. But at the end of the day, for me, it's more about the economy too. Then I got all the stuff that's going on overseas that I keep up with, right? But I mean, I don't envy the man, dude. I mean, he has a lot of stuff going on, dude, and the news who hasn't been able to. It's funny to watch the media, right? Especially the mainstream media, reacting to all of this stuff because they were kind of OOC for the last 4 years under Biden. Biden would just call a cap on everything. They couldn't ask any questions really. He wouldn't address the media, just walk away. So a lot of these guys, but the funny thing is, if Trump did that, dude, these guys would be speculating up and down. But the media never did that, right? Because if you guys didn't know, a lot of the media are liberal, vote Democratic, right? That's their team. So, and which it shows, right? Because now that Trump's back in office, dude, these guys are just moving. And the funny thing about it is because it's almost like they're out of shape, right? like they hadn't been to gym for the month, and then for months, and then they're trying to come back in there and trying to get ready for a 7 minute mile, right? I mean, there's some muscle memory and stuff like that. You don't totally lose it. So but the media is trying to get their stride back. But I mean, it's hard because Trump's just blitzing them left and right because he's just moving forward, full speed ahead, right? He's just doing a lot of different things on multiple fronts, right? Like a lot of these people, when we struck the Houthis and stuff like that, we know stuff was going down, but he actually went ahead and moved forward with it, right? And so they're earning their pay, man. I give them that much, right? I could do without the bias stuff, but they've been exposed, dude. If you're listening to the mainstream media, you're getting like 80, you're getting maybe 10%, 5% of the truth, right? The rest is all their bias, their biases and stuff like that. That's why you can't really listen to the mainstream media, and you don't need to, man. You can just go out. You can like watch a video like this, right? And then you can get like your own. You can get your own opinion on it, like from what I'm saying. Like some of the stuff is my opinion, but I tell you guys these things, man. I look into this stuff because it's interesting to me, and then I have a lot of different aspects that I like to look at as well. Um, Dude, this is funny. Just really 1 second, man. So I had these birds, right? These parakeets that have been let loose in the wild, and they've adapted to the environment here, which in Hawaii is not hard. But this bird, I've been watching it because they've been coming to my house and on my roof. And then I bought this bird be gone thing, and it's working pretty good. Because I see this parakeet is over here, and he wants to come over to the house, but he can't because I have my bird be gone. But I'm gonna have to find other stuff as well. This is what happens when you get old, man. You get involved in crap like this. Sorry, I got distracted, guys. I'm just watching it because he wants to come over, but this sonic bird thing that I have is preventing him from coming. And then I heard the birds on the other side of my house, so I got to get another bird be gone thing. I got to find different stuff to combat because where I live in, man, I can't get poison to kill these things. I know that sounds pretty brutal, man, but when you guys have a house and you have to pay for the damages, that sympathy goes away real quick. Especially when that stuff starts costing you in the thousands of dollars. And these things are poking holes in my ceiling. That's how I knew. That's how I found out they were up there. Like you can kind of hear them. See, that's that noise you hear all the time. That's these birds. When you listen to my videos, because I know you guys listen. You guys say, "What is that? You live in a jungle," which I think is funny. Yeah, I'm not offended by that. But anyway, sorry. Get back on track. Pepe says, "Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I should do a YouTube search. Sorry, I've been watching sumo. Um, the Basho is going on in Japan right now, and it's pretty cool because NHK Japan. Because I don't have cable anymore, but NHK Japan is actually showing clips of the Basho, which is really cool. And they're doing like every day. So I do like sumo, guys. That's just not something. I'm not some weeaboo. I actually follow it. I've been following it for years, especially when I came back to Hawaii. Because it was popular at the time that I came back. Because we had people from Hawaii that were sumo wrestlers. The two or three of the best sumo wrestlers are from Hawaii. At 4, I think. So it should be pretty. Yeah, it should be coming out soon. Yeah, hopefully it's not redacted, brother. That would be bad if it is. But again, for me, guys, the focus for me is mostly on the economy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Look, even in the gaming realm, right? Because a lot of the stuff that's going on with the tariffs and stuff like that, it'll be interesting to see what's going on. I try and post videos on my X. I'll put my thing in the comments if you guys want to follow me on X. Um, yeah, guys, if you want to follow me on X, I've been posting a lot of stuff about Japan's economy and what they're going through over there. I can sympathize because like I said, I live in Hawaii, and so they're kind of in the same situation. There's some things I think Japan could do to improve their situation that Hawaii has done, especially when it comes to the over tourism. But it's a balance like everything else, man. Their economy just needs to pick up. Yeah, so yeah, Pepe, I don't know if I'll do a video on that, but I mean, we can discuss it. Jalen, Trump is a loser. He still hasn't gotten over Biden kicking his ass in 2020. Jalen 901. I mean, why would he? Right? I mean, they absolutely decimated Biden and the Democrats. Jay, it wasn't even close. Uh, and I'm not just talking about the overall, what the popular vote, and the reason why that matters is just the narrative has been like, there's no way he can win the popular vote. So the fact that he won it is huge. I'll debate people all the time about that. They'll talk about, well, if you look at the numbers, it doesn't matter. dude. And then the same thing like in 2020. This is why I believe the cheating thing is a thing. It is really a thing because he's improved his numbers and he had great numbers in 2020, and in 2024 he built on that, which points to the fact that they probably cheated in 2020, or that they cheated in 2020. Right? There's all this stuff that's come back to haunt them. The 4 years that they got, just the 4 years from 2020 to 2024, just exposed how bad the Democratic Party is. Because you're not liberals anymore, bro. You guys are run by leftists. If I'm assuming you follow, you're a Democrat, J-Lo. If you look at your party, right, it's just like on the Republican side, right? The reason why Trump was able to come in and take over that party because the Republicans were weak, right? Like they never followed what their voter base wanted, right? Which is what Trump is pretty much doing right now. And then from 2020 to 2024, a lot of people's eyes opened up. That's how he was able to gain in every group across the board. And then again, people tell me, well, he still hasn't won the complete like if he's like the Hispanic vote or something like that. It doesn't matter, dude. He made gains in each and every one of these categories across the board. That's the difference that they couldn't see. And the reason they can't see this is why I talk about this on the channel, man. Is they have this TDS about Trump instead of treating him. I mean, they said he was a threat, right? But they didn't take him seriously. They don't respect the man. They hate the dude. And when you're like that, dude, you should never let anybody get in your head like that, especially in politics. That's how come they always be taking L's all the time. And then what happens is they talk about it so much they believe their own BS, right? And that's why they lost the way they did. They weren't listening to what the people were saying. The simple fact that the Democrats lost the blue dog vote blows my mind because that was the backbone of their base. The fact that his cabinet is full of people that are Democrats. The fact that he himself is a Democrat. I argue with people even on my side about that because they'll tell me he's a Republican, he's a conservative. He's none of that, dude. Prior to him going into the Republican Party, he's a Democrat his whole life, right? He's very pro-American. He's always been pro-American. I think that's the thing that kind of tethered him. As you get older, right, you tend to be that way. Um, he's always been that way, but I mean, he was on the left, man, especially on social issues. There's tons of evidence out there that shows that the Democrats had to use that in 2016 against him. But he was running roughshod over everybody, even the Republican Party, dude. They had no chance against him, right? And that's because even the media they got lazy, right? Because it was always one way, right? They pick a Republican, so the Democrats kind of choose who they want because the media focuses on the Republican that they want, like a John McCain or a Mitt Romney. But then when they win and actually move forward against the Democrat, then everything shifts and they'll like them like they liked them about 6 8 months ago, and now they're just a constant attack. So that's what he fought with. Trump came in and he blew everybody up. That's one of the things that fascinating about 2016, more so than him actually winning, right? Because you could see it happen in real time. It was amazing to me. But this right here, Jay. I mean, if seriously, dude, if the party again, I'm just assuming you're a Democrat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, this right here, dude. You want to keep on taking L's, dude. Got to change that perspective, bro. You got to look at things more honestly. And I say this all the time in the channel, man. I talk about in gaming, dude. This is why I don't sweat what Sony's doing, dude. I just don't like the hypocrisy from the gaming media. I like the hypocrisy of Sony. I'll call that stuff out. It's more about the hypocrisy, but actually hating something so much like how ponies do with Xbox, dude. Look at where they're at now. It doesn't help you, dude. You have to look at everything and try and be balanced. The media isn't biased. Trump is just that dumb. He's the most prolific liar in politics. Uh, I don't know. I mean, that's your opinion again, like your comment up here, bro. This isn't gonna fly anymore, brother. Because they're trying to reshift. The media's trying to reshift and trying to bring up the old talking points, right? The whole Russia thing, right? But who's the one stopping the war right now, right? If he's pro-Russia, why is he trying to bring peace? I mean, he's pro-American. He's trying to get some stuff out of it, which I agree with. If you're gonna do that, because at some point in time, because I get called a war hawk all the time when I'm discussing politics when it comes to national defense, and this is what I'm gonna show Marie Le Pen's video in a second, guys. Talk about that. But come on, bro. You got to come up with something different than this. Like why? Like how is he a liar? So the one thing that shoots holes in this right here that you're saying is the fact that he gets attacked constantly. If he was a liar, he just would move on. He doesn't need to do this stuff. He doesn't need to do this job. He doesn't. He'll be fine. Dude's a billionaire, man. But I gotta get better than this, Jay. You just got to, because this isn't washing anymore. Right? Because what people are seeing, and even if he was, if he was a dumb and he was a liar, like you say, um, the problem is that the Democrats are worse. Like people are seeing through everything, and the Republicans too. But the people didn't like the Republicans for the longest time. Republicans already been on the crap list. But everybody's what's being exposed now is how bad the Democrats are. Because like he comes up with stuff that you might not like because you might not like him. But if you look at what he's doing, it's beneficial to everybody in the country, and they're against it. Like they're the party of just being against him. Like they don't have anything. That's like when you make statements like this, Jay, dude. It doesn't. It's like a water off a duck's back. Nobody cares anymore, right? They just tune you out. Like specifics, like how is he lying, right? Like if you're gonna say something like that, talk about like how he said he was gonna end the he made that statements. Well, I'm gonna end this war in one day, and he's getting called to the carpet for saying that kind of stuff, right? You have to do stuff like that. But then you also got to remember, right? Like you have people looking at that, right? And you also got to remember some people that voted for President Trump holding their nose, right? So you have to maybe you can form a coalition this way, in that sense. But you also got to remember that he's also successful in other stuff. Like if you're gonna want to be taken serious in politics, you have to do that. You can't just be throwing darts at the dude and have nothing to say. Just just putting it out there. Pepe says could be stuff on Hoffa, the mob, and MLK plus Jack Ruby and Monroe. Yeah. I would not be surprised, Pepe, right? If that was the case, I think it's all and it's why nobody trusts politics anymore or government anymore, right? Because their hands are dirty, right? Now, if you can look at it and then you put it in perspective, like it was that point in time, things were going on in the country, stuff like that, right? But fast forward in 2025, man, it'll just justify a lot of the people's fears are correct with what the government is doing for its own citizenry. Because you have a lot of people. This is why Trump and Musk refer to Washington not as Washington but the bureaucracy. Right? There's a lot of people in these positions that are appointed, right? That are allowing their ideology to run the government. I.e., if you want to support USAID and do things, there's some stuff that USA did that was good, right? But the majority of the stuff, as we see now, is bad. Um, when something's not working right, you should course correct. But because these guys are so strong on their ideology, they just double down and then triple down and quadruple down, right? And that becomes more important to them than what they were put in that position to do. And again, this is why I support small government. I think we need to course correct. But yeah, to your point, yeah, that I would not. That would be. I'm pretty sure if stuff's released like this, Pepe Le Pew, like confirmed, then there'll be documentaries for years talking about this stuff, and it'll just help Trump even more, right? In what his mission is trying to downsize the government. At the end of the day, Pepe Le Pew says, be great. What if any new history can be learned from these files? Yeah, it could, and it could blow the door open on other things like Nazis and NASA, right? Like Operation Paperclip, all this other stuff that they were doing. I'm not sitting there judging, saying good or bad. I'm just saying let it all out there and let people decide, right? But I mean, if it's a one for one, I think that would be great because the truth needs to get out there. Jay says, how did Biden cheat while he wasn't president? He's supposedly a senile zombie, but he somehow was able to bypass the simple strongman Trump and steal the election on his watch. Make it make sense. Well, because it's not Biden, Jaylon. He's just a puppet. What you were dealing with for the 4 years, that's the people that were in charge. It was a bureaucracy of people. Everybody on his cabinet, which was selected, right? That all pull that line. I mean, what do you think happens? Was like one day there's people know that two sexes and a boy and a girl, then all of a sudden just this constant onslaught, right? Of multiculturalism, of multisexualism, right? Where do you think that comes from? Right? This was all pushed by the government, right? Because these are the people in power who Trump is trying to remove right now. Yeah, it wasn't Biden. That dude is senile, and I'm pretty sure you acknowledge, right, that he is senile, that he is a zombie, that it wasn't him. The only time he would be coherent is when he was upset, which was awesome to see. I must add, but that's the only time in a moment of clarity. Dude, he's old. He has old man tendencies, right? Somebody his age, dude, the only time he'd be cognizant is when he was pissed off at someone. Right? But he wasn't in control. Dude, if you're gonna sit there and watch all the hundreds of hours of videos seeing this dude, and he never talked to the press, right? At least Trump talked to the press. You might not like what he says, but he talks to them. Right? That's why the press is out of the press is they're out of shape, bro. Especially in the beginning, man, they didn't know how to take it because they the shock and awe of losing the election for the second time the way that they did, right? And then seeing the poll numbers throwing them all off the game. But it'll come out. The media will come out, man, because at the end of the day, they're ideologues. But yeah, dude, come on, Jake. That's the bureaucracy they're talking about right now. That's what they're trying to dismantle. Because whether you agree or disagree, man, the person who won the election, right? That's the person that we put in place. Even though I say that Biden cheated, or not, well, he was part of the cheat, but they cheated to get those votes, right? In 2020, they stole the election. At the end of the day, the 4 years that he had was actually detrimental in the worst way, because they stole the election, right? He went in there with his cabinet, with all his cronies and all the stuff that they were doing, and they run roughshod over everything. They expose themselves. I mean, you gotta at least see that, bro. Fox News had to pay the biggest defamation settlement in history for their lies about voter fraud. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas had to retract his voter claim. Oh yeah, people went to jail. People went to jail. I honestly feel that over time, history will pan itself out. And with all the digging that Doge does, maybe we'll get it sooner than later. But I hope that they do. I hope that they're able to do that, because that's a heavy price to pay. I mean, that's just reporting, right? And that's how I know. That's how you know they're dishonest, dude, because they went heavy in on this kind of stuff. Not Fox, but the opposition. Just listen to them, dude. This is why, man. I mean, it's nuts, dude. It's nuts seeing all this stuff fall apart. Mm. Dinesh D'Souza had to retract his 200 Mules documentary, which claimed the election was stolen because it was completely incorrect. I don't say it was completely incorrect, right? He was forced to retract it because they're gonna destroy him. He actually went to jail. Remember, Obama put him in jail, and he should be able to say stuff because it's freedom of speech. People say stuff about Trump all the time, or people say stuff about everything all the time. So why is that different? I mean, the evidence is there, right? If you watch the videos, but it wasn't about finding out what the videos were, man. They just put a kibosh on everything. They never inspected it. All that information's out there. It'll be funny if they actually connect the dots one day. I mean, there's evidence, Jay. There's evidence that whether you choose to believe the evidence or not you, but anybody, right? And then they never moved on that. Like, okay, why were these people just dumping ballots in there? Why were they, what happened to that postal truck? Right? And people have come up and gave testimony, right? And they ignored all that stuff. And that's not how you want justice to be, dude. Because when it comes back on the other side, you end up, when it happens to you, you're not going to like it. He's not trying to bring peace. He sees fire as only giving Russia favorable terms and making Ukraine forfeit everything that was stolen from them. You should go look at the contract that Russia had with NATO. Because the problem for all of this stuff is NATO and the Europeans. That's why I'm going to play this video soon, guys. I'll answer his comments. This video is like 11 minutes long, but I do want to cover it. And it's Marie Le Pen, who's trying to win is it president of France. And she makes some great talking points. I mean, stopping the war would bring peace, right, G? He's not trying to bring peace. His ceasefire is only giving Russia favorable terms and making Ukraine forfeit everything that was stolen from them. I mean, somebody's got to do something, right? I mean, do you want to go to war, Jay? I mean, I'm way older than you, but I think you're still in that age to be drafted, right? Would you want to go fight over there if we go to war with Russia? Because when you listen to the Europeans, they're saying, okay, we're going to go to war with Russia, right? But what they want to do is they want to trap the United States, the U.S., because we're NATO as well. So if they go to war, we're obligated to support them, which is ironic because Ukraine's not they're not an ally, they're not in NATO. That's why they're trying to put them in NATO to kind of tie our hands. It's crazy if you look at it. I'm like, wow, dude, these dudes really want to go to war with this dude. Oh, and also keep in mind, Russia has nuclear weapons. So does China. I don't think Iran has nuclear weapons yet. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's something to give you pause. And that's ironic to me, man, because the way Europe, man, dude, I saw this great meme. I should try and find it and share it. But it's like the farmers, no, Geico commercial. It's one of the insurance commercials, right, where the guy says, where the wife thinks he's talking to a girl, but when she jumped on the phone because it's late at night, and she gets on the phone, and then that's how the commercial goes, and then the guy's like, and then the wife talks to the dude, and then she's like, oh, it sounds like a guy, and it's like, well, that's because he is a guy, right? But the meme they have on there is like, hey, Europe wants to start World War III, and then the guy responds, well, they started the first two, so you know. Look, and I'm not one of these guys that want to decouple, right? I think if you're the leader of the free world, and if you're the lone superpower in the world, man, you have responsibilities and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that we have to 100% go with what everybody wants. You know what I'm saying? Like it blows my mind that Europe is talking all this yin yang, dude, and I'm like, bro, when's the last time you guys been in a conflict? World War II, right? And what happened there? You know, you guys have done nothing. Like Trump, when he was in office, and other presidents as well, was telling them, hey, you guys need to rise up your defense, man, and pay more into your defense. Saying that for years, dude. Which is ironic because they've always been anti-war. The majority of their people. There's a bunch of liberals and socialists and communists in those countries, dude. Sorry, let me get back on track, guys. Trump hired Alex Acosta to his last administration. This is the guy who let Epstein walk free from prison in Florida. Trump lied about releasing the Epstein file. Well, I mean, you just can't release it, right? If he wanted to release it, he probably would have. But fair point. Fair point. But how does it apply now? Like, there's a lot of things from 2016 that Trump didn't do that he's course correcting on. I'm not saying this is one of them, but I'm just saying. I mean, I love for the Epstein files to be released. I mean, it's not on my top five right now of things that he's focusing on. He's focusing on all of this kind of stuff, but for me, like I said earlier, dude, it's about the economy and foreign policy right now. Because especially the economy, because that affects me directly. I think it affects everybody, but you know, everybody's at different levels, so I say that. It's not drama. It's about following the procedure. Congress and inspector generals are the ones who are supposed to audit, fund, and cut departments, not billionaire corporate lobbyists like Musk. No, wrong. It's within the executive. Within his executive powers, bro. Come on, right? Three branches, right? Legislative, judicial, and executive. If you walk in, I said this in my other video, bro. You walk into any federal building, any military complex, dude. There's a wall that shows the chain of command. You go look at that wall and see who the top picture is on that chain of command. That dude is the government. He's the head of it, especially on the executive side, right? And if you're a federal employee, dude, you work for that person. Like when Biden was in there, I work for Biden because he's the president of the United States. Right? He's the top executive. Right? He's invested with their power, and you can't have these people coming in and everybody has to respect their lane, and that's the problem we're having right now, especially on the left, dude. It's on your guys' side because that's how you guys will let to run roughshod over stuff, right? That's why I love hearing Democrats talk about constitutional crisis when their whole thing is constitutional crisis, dude. Right? You guys own pop culture, you guys own the media, right? You guys own the judiciary, you guys own the education system. This is why he's dismantling everything, dude. We need to get back to zero. And this is why he's having problems with these radical judges, right? Because if you just look at who appointed them, what their background is, what their connections are, dude, it's obvious, dude, that they're using the bias. Like for me, I just would be like, I just ignore them. Either trying to get these guys impeached, right? Because they need to stay in their lane. You have to suffer the consequences, like how someone like myself suffered the consequences the last 4 years, and other people suffer the consequences, and they want to change, and that changes Trump. And your side lost, so you have to suck it up for 4 years. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's actually how the process works. And then what happens is you haven't let him have his 4 years. Let him do what he's doing, right, within the purview of his power, which he's allowed to do, right. Let him do that, and then let the people decide next time if it's going to be a different Democrat or Republican, or if you want to change the direction of the country, right? But for right now, majority rule, right? As far as the popular vote, right? He won the electoral college, right? Which is important. He won all of it, all the swing states, everything, dude. That's why they say it's a mandate. But you just can't go around trying to block the dude. That's what Democrats and liberals love to do. And now your party's full of leftists, which basically are socialists and communists. And dude, screw that anarchist BS, dude. Especially in a country like the U.S., man. I hear people talk about anarchy and crap like that. Everybody here is so spoiled. You want anarchy, dude? Go to a third world country and see how you survive over there. If you make it over there, then come back and talk to me. Not you personally, but people that say that kind of stuff. Trump is a liar and he's corrupt as Hitler, and people know about the many atrocities committed. Like what, David? Come on. You got to tell me specifically. What did he commit? The fact that he has bad taste? When I look at his, when you look at his hotel and or his domiciles and stuff like that, it's all tinted in gold. Ugh, yeah, I don't like that about him. Right? I mean, corrupt as Hitler. I don't say corrupt. I don't think Hitler was actually corrupt. I just thought he was evil. Right? He practiced mass genocide. I mean, so you have to let me know. What do you think about that? There is evidence of Trump trying to get Pence to throw out Biden electoral votes and replace them with fake and certified Trump vote. No, 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 no. He wanted Pence to question. He wanted Pence to question the validity of the vote, right, and stop it and let them give time to investigate. But Pence folded. That's why the Republicans are useless. Because Republicans will sit there and they'll talk about taking the high moral ground, but they'll also talk about doing what's right, standing for what's right in the country, but they never do, right? Because it's hard. It's hard to do that, right? And he would have got eviscerated. I felt bad because I actually like Mike Pence as a Christian, especially. I think he's a good Christian man, right? But as far as a politician, no, he needs to do something else. But I'll break bread with him now. I'll talk to him about the Bible. I think he's a God fearing man, just a bad politician. He was challenged on that, dude. And look, dude, I'll say this much, man. It took the 4 years of Biden to wake a lot of people up to what's really going on. So yeah, in the end, God wins. So, but I like Mike Pence he's a Christian brother, man. But I just think he made the wrong decision at that point. You basically want to allow Russia to do whatever they want. I don't think they should be allowed to do whatever they want. That's why we have checks and balances, right? This is why we're a part of NATO. This is why we're the biggest military on the face of this earth. That's why our budget's $800 billion, because we check Russia and we check China, right? But there's rules to the art of war, Jalen. But what Europe wants to do is they just want to take Russia out at this point. And what is that? And what's going to happen if they try and do that, Jay? Right? If every military in the world attacks Russia right now, including us, yeah, easily we could defeat them. But what do you think the end game is going to be? You think Russia's just going to sit there and get defeated? What do you think is going to happen? They're a nuclear power. And again, who's going to fight this war? There's a reason why Trump won the younger vote on the level that he did, man. Because a lot of these guys are wise to it. They're like, dude, if we go to war, that's me. Because they're going to draft these people, man. Legislation's already in place to enact the draft, right? Because they know they won't have enough people because the military numbers were dropping. Now they're going up since Trump came back into the level. A lot of people are joining. But at the end of the day, what's the end game? That's all I want to know. Let me know. I mean, you don't think Russia will launch off a couple of nukes? Just saying. Trump coasted off Obama's economy in his first term, and now he's coasting off the Great Recovery. Oh my gosh, Jay. Come on, Jay. Come on, Jay. Dude, unless you're rich, man, I don't want to hear it. You must have a lot of money. I know I don't. And some of that's on me because of where I live, but still. So don't try and tell me that. Come on, bro. That's not even. That's talking points right here. Recovered economy. Dude, everybody's struggling. Dude, you had whole states move. The whole states move. People move whole states to escape the high cost of living. People here where I live are doing it, man. They're moving to the mainland, dude. Most of these people that I know never wanted to leave this island, but they have no choice because they can't afford it. Dude, I can't afford it. This place is ridiculous. I went shopping the other day, man, like $136 for nothing. for maybe a bag of groceries where I live. Now, I believe you're in Florida, brother, so good for you, right? I know stuff is changing over there too, but man, you can't touch us right here, dude. Us in California, right, dude? We up there. And my problem with it is like, okay, why am I complaining? Because it doesn't have to be that way, dude. There's a lot of stuff the local government here can do, but they won't, right? And the people keep on voting for them. Again, that's why I gotta suffer. That's why I don't want to. I don't like hearing what people tell me about, you Trump in office right now. Like, yeah, dude, you have to suck it up for 4 years, make a case, dude, present it to the people, right, and then see if it changes. That's what you have to do. That's how the process works. Pepe Le Pew says it's all about the international arms traffickers and the money everyone can make off war if Trump ends it. Put stop to certain people getting rich. Yeah, and we're. I mean, I'm be honest, Pepe. I mean, the U.S. We have one of the biggest military industrial complex. Right? I'm not saying that necessarily bad, right? But I mean, have we been taking advantage of that? Yes, right. This is why a lot of people didn't want Trump elected because he's going to try and put a stop to that. Dude, there's a lot of money involved in what he's trying to do, dude. That's why it's going to be hard. Jay Long says, sounds like you want a king. Congress is in charge of the purse. It says in the Constitution. Yeah, and also it says in the Constitution that the president has executive privilege. Come on, Jay, you can't use the Constitution whenever you want to, right? These acts that these are in law, dude. If you don't like the law, go write your congressman and tell him, hey, we need to change this law. That's what a lot of people are finding out right now, right? Especially the people crying constitutional crisis on the left, right? They're sitting there thinking about like, oh, this is a constitutional crisis. Look, even me, a lot of people, I say the majority of people have no idea some of this stuff that they're enacting. The people and I know Trump didn't know this, right? But he has people in his cabinet, right? That's what you do. You pick the people around you, right? Like Biden had all those people around him, right? And these are the people telling him all this kind of stuff, right? But you can't blame them for knowing, and the other side just because they didn't know, because their main focus is, guys are girls are boys and boys are girls, right? And everybody can use the same bathroom. That's on you guys. That was your focus, right? That's on you. That's y'all's problem on your side, right? I mean, there's a lot of educated people on his side of the aisle that are bringing this stuff up, and it's already there, dude. So why didn't your side look at it already, man? What like that? And that's another thing too. Both sides, Democrat and Republican. What do you guys actually do as politicians every day? Because every time I see something come up, man, all both sides, you guys are all in shock and awe. You have no idea what's going on, and that's your job. You're a politician. You should know the laws. Like you're saying, dude, they're in charge of the purse, which is true. They are. But why don't they know these things? Both sides, Republicans and Democrats, right? That's what you should be focusing on. The judges are mainly Republican, though. No, 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 no. And then Biden just appointed a bunch of people that are on the liberal bent. The judges that are trying to, all you have to do is look at the judges trying to stop Trump on what he's trying to do, right? You just look at the judges, you see their political bent, and you see who their families working for. And you don't have to dig deep for that stuff, Jay. Come on, dude. Watch Pepe Le Pew. Watch a movie called Lord of War. Stars Nicolas Cage as Yuri Orlov, a Ukrainian American international arms trafficker who sells to anyone who can pay. Yeah, yeah, and Ukraine's not the only one doing that. In some instances, it's our own government that was doing that kind of stuff. But great point, Pepe. Even what was that other one that came up, Pepe? The one with that fat dude and Miles Teller, the one that plays Lisa's son in the new Maverick movie in Maverick, Dogs of War, something like that. Dude, that was a good movie actually. Jalen, Republicans didn't suck it up when Biden won. They stormed the Capitol and cried in the now his whole 4 years. Yeah. Okay. So what about all the Democrats that did that and actually stopped and did damage? How about that? Dude, are you serious? Somebody's knocking on my door right now. Hold on, guys. Was that the mail? Hey, my apologies, guys. I'll be right back. Wow, sorry about that, guys. Oh, that's my exercise for the day. Sorry. Pepe says it's all about the money in the end. Yeah, 100%. Both sides. I get it. This is why a lot of people support what Trump is doing with Doge because they know it's bad on both sides. It's like I say it all the time on the channel. It's incestuous in Washington D.C. When they do these investigations, whether it's Democrat or Republicans, I don't care. If you're bad, you need to go. Which might actually change the if. Look, I'm pretty sure there's Republicans, right? And they have a major, what is it? Resistant majority in the House and Senate, right? Like in order to get the 60 for the CR to pass the continuing resolution, they needed Democrats to come over for the 60 votes, which the Democrats did. Um, Jay Long said they did investigate the vote and it got denied multiple times. There's actual video of the fake electors trying to get into the Capitol. I saw a video where they were letting people in, though, Jay, right? And then if you want to, just go look at Democrat, the way they protested in the Capitol. It's not the only time people were in the Capitol. That's what's so suspicious about all of this kind of stuff, right? You're telling me that there's people felt like their lives were threatened, all this stuff was going on, and the people shouldn't have done that, right? That was bad. They shouldn't have done that, right? But then a lot of these people then they were prosecuted and held without trial, right? Why didn't they hold trials on this kind of stuff? And we know why. And both sides, Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans were just as guilty as the Democrats were. I'm not struggling. People are moving states because of supply and demand. The more popular an area gets, the more expensive it gets because everyone wants to be there, and isn't enough supply. Yeah, that's not that. That's 100%, dude. I don't know. Is that right? People move to a place that is cheaper. Cost of living, brother. Cost of living. You live in a state. I'm pretty sure you're still in Florida, right? You live in a state with no state income tax, right? There's other states that don't do that. There's other states that are heavy-handed with their taxes and their regulations. That's why a lot of people move to Florida. So a lot of people move into Texas. Right? A lot of people move into Vegas because it's cheaper, and there's jobs, right? And the area starts booming. The problem with that is it's causing secondary issues, right? So like if you live in a place like Hawaii where you can sell your house, and your house isn't a mansion that you maybe get anywhere from 900,000 to 1.2 million, depending on the house, right? Some people can sell it for more, right? And what they do is they'll sell the house here. They'll move to a place like Vegas where the houses were still 300,000, 400,000. They can buy a house there, bigger, more land, right? Cheaper cost of living, and then take the rest of that money and put it in their bank, and then live comfortably, right? But then that has a side effects as well, dude. I watched this great documentary or video, kind of documentary, more of a video on YouTube with Idaho because that's what I was looking at moving at because their cost of living's low, and the area looks nice, right? And it has a lot of the stuff that I like that if I wanted to retire someplace fits the bill. But the problem I watched with the video was that so many people were moving there that it was forcing the local people there, man. They were having a hard time because where they live at that there's a reason why the cost of living is the way it is and the jobs are the way they are and the industry is the way the industry. A lot of these people they were teleworking, right? So they might be from California and they moved to Idaho, but they're still making California pay living in Idaho, right? And that costs everything to rise up. Sure, there's a boom in the economy, there's a boom in the housing market and stuff like that. But it was the houses were buying up so fast that the local people couldn't afford it. And then they had to move, right? Cause and effect, bro. Hitler was very evil. He became bitter, however, it doesn't justify what he did. Same with Trump. Trump is only after power and money, which also makes him a dictator and also corrupts, turns people evil. Like how? Like what kind of power does he have, David? Everything he does goes against the status quo, goes against the people actually in power, which are the bureaucrats. And at the end of the day, what does he gain from it? You have to tell me that. What I don't see anything he gains from doing what he does. He's hated more, right? He loses money. Same thing like Elon. This dude could walk away from this stuff and then just double his, triple his money over. That was evident when he 2016 in the debate with Hillary Clinton when he talked about the tax breaks and stuff like that. This dude's not stupid. He can make way more money outside of this of being the president. So you got to tell me like what how is he doing that? You can tell me you don't agree with some of the stuff he's doing, but you got to tell me how he's evil. Especially when people start using when people start telling him like the evil, right? Or in relationship to Hitler itself. Like I need to. You have to let me know specifically. Because if I was, look, I'll be honest with you guys, dude. If I was him, I would walk away a long time ago. I'm that type of person, dude. Not that I don't care about people, but I'm like, look, sometimes, look, you can only do so much, right? Sometimes experience will have to be people's teacher. Like these last 4 years, people found out really quickly, right? And look, I'm not just saying, David. Just I'm not trying to attack you, brother. I just need to know like just some specifics. Laughing my ass off. The power of the budget and spending is not executive privilege; it's a legislative branch privilege. No, but he's the executive. He's the boss, bro. He's the boss. He doesn't have to go to budget to fire people. Well, if you work in a company and there's your boss, like if my boss wants to fire me, dude, he doesn't have to go to budget, which is ironic because I work in the budget department. Right? He's just the boss. He just be like, no, dude, you're gone. That's this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with legislative branch privilege. Now, if he was going over there and trying to change laws, right, without due process, then yeah. But this is the thing, Jay, that you have to wake up to, and hopefully you wake up one day to this kind of stuff, right? This is all the mechanisms that the left has in place, right, to block people on the Republican side or on the right, that want to make these kind of changes, right? They have the culture, again, they have the culture, they have the media, they have everything in their power. The problem is it's not working anymore, right? Because the last 4 years, it woke people up, man. Because like I say all this time on the channel, man, politics is local, dude. It doesn't matter. They're not looking at Trump as evil or Hitler, all this stuff people are saying. People is looking at their paycheck and at the cost of living. Dude, just go online and see how many people just complain about how expensive food is. Dude, where I am, if you want a combo number one here, dude, that's like $20. Right? Plus, a lot of people have gotten wise to all the social engineering that's going on behind these policies, right? That the left likes to impose on people. Dude, they're the proverbial hall monitors, the people that want to get in everybody else's business. That's what they want to do. They want to power and control you. That's why a lot of these people go into politics, right? Because that's the way they can do it. And this whole thing about Trump being a Nazi and Hitler and stuff like that is wearing thin because at the end of the day, people don't care about that because they're like, dude, why is my electric bill so high? Dude, why is my mortgage going up by $500? Right? Why are my property taxes going high? Right? Why every time I turn around in my bill, man, I'm getting an email from T-Mobile saying that every line is going to be $5 more. Right? That stuff all adds up over time, dude. That's what you guys aren't picking up on. Greatness Awaits says Trump has it. Hey, what's up, Greatness Awaits? Trump hand wasn't on the Bible during oath of office. He's in league with the Antichrist. No. Read your Bible again. The Antichrist will come in the time of when he comes, dude. There's nothing. It's like the same thing people said about Obama being the Antichrist. No, Obama couldn't even get the budget passed when he was in office. Dude, the Antichrist will be able to woo people. Go back and read your Bible, brother. Yeah, he should have put his hand on the Bible. That's why a lot of people that tell me like he's a conservative, he's a right winger. I'm like, no, he's not, dude. He's a populist. He might have the leanings of, right? But then some stuff he does is left leaning too. So that's why I don't. Again, let's call balls and strikes, guys. It's not going to help us not looking at things reasonably or clearly. And look, I understand. Look, a lot of when I did this change on my channel, dude, a lot of people were telling me, man, not a lot, but people I know were telling me, don't do it, man. It's going to kill your channel. Well, luckily for me, my channel isn't big anyway. I mean, I do feel for like some people who are Xbox guys that won't rock out with me because of Xbox stuff. But dude, the Xbox stuff is fine, right? Just waiting for the next things to drop. But I gotta do stuff on this channel that I'm interested in, and this is one of the things I like. Jay Long says the Dems have done nothing equivalent to storming the Capitol and denying the results of the election for 4 straight years. Well, you gotta go look at the video, Jay. There's video out there of them doing. I remember when they did it. The thing is, they're not held as accountable, and the news don't cover it. So you have to dig in yourself. And I gotta tell you guys, look, man, I will talk about this stuff, dude, but I ain't nobody's secretary. and I don't do people's homework for them because it's better if you do it for yourself so that you can see it. Because the moment of clarity that comes for a lot of people is when they themselves come to the realization. You can't force people to do that. Jay Long says they let people into the Capitol on January 6th because Trump didn't staff up the National Guard and they had to let them in as crowd control. I suggest you see what Nancy Pelosi said to the president and then come back and see me. Miami and Broward are super expensive though. Whack places in Florida are affordable though. Nobody wants to go to these whack places though. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, Jay Long. I grew up in Florida. I lived in Kissimmee. Right. But I mean, a lot of that stuff is because yeah, man, Miami's a beautiful city, man. My uncle he was living in Hollywood for a while. We came down summer vacation. I was in, and I've been to like the southern. I've never been to Miami. That was the first time. So when we were in Hollywood, Florida, then we would go to Miami. Man, it's beautiful, bro. Miami's amazing. Right, dude. Everything was amazing, man. I love Miami, but it was like a city, right? And of course, dude, you have a lot of people with money there. So of course it's going to be more expensive, right? And so I think a lot of people choose, and then you got to look at the people moving to Miami, right? They probably have money already. Um, but like the whole thing with Idaho and stuff like that, and then some of it, dude, is just to one up, right? People that have money, how do they make money, right? They make those kind of choices, reasonable, smart choices. Um, Housing funding for departments is not an executive privilege. This is not Europe. The president is not king. Based on what? Based on what, dude? All of this stuff falls within the executive branch, bro. Yeah, Congress has a way of the funding, but they don't have a control of who runs these departments and who appoints these positions. That's why he gets to do what he does. That's why they're not able to stop him. Then you have these liberal judges that'll get involved in it and it gets smacked down too. And then at this point in time, dude, a lot of them, when you look at what they're doing, dude, it's outside of the purview of their position, right? And that's why if I was Trump, I just ignore him. It doesn't matter. Biden did the same thing. He ignored him. You can't have federal judges, which I don't know why they even have that power, dude. They should just put all that power back to the Supreme Court. One of the reasons federal judges get involved in these cases, right, is because it's to work in the it's to laying the low for the Supreme Court because there's so many stuff, which is another problem, which is the next front they need to have a war on, which is lawfare. It's really bad in this country. People need to deal with the consequences of their selection of their choices. That's the problem with the society now. We don't let people learn from it, and we need to. When he drops dead, people are going to bitch about him getting a funeral. Pepe Le Pew says when he drops dead, people are going to bitch about him getting. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, 100%. That's what that TDS Pepe is just such a bad thing. Like there's so many people when you see what they post or how they talk or what they're talking about, it blows my mind. It's just like, dude, never let somebody get that much into your head, dude. Don't do it, man. Pepe Le Pew says they will protest it. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They're protesting it now. And some of it might be justified, right? If things go south, right? We don't know. And some of this stuff, like how things are going to turn out with his plans, I have an idea, but it's not 100%. Plus, there's stuff happening in real time, right? Like I'm pretty sure they were worried, they knew about the Houthis and stuff like that, but then the Houthis actually started taking action. So that's another thing that's throwing stuff off, right? Because he made a lot of bold claims. The president made a lot of bold claims, man. I'm more of a realist when he says certain things, right? But there's people, at the end of the day, like I think it might be a little unfair, but he really has to focus down on the economy because that's the reason why a lot of people voted for him, man. If the economy doesn't turn around soon, right? It's turning, man, but not fast enough for most people. And some people might say that's fair, that's not fair. I mean, that's not the point, though. At the end of the day, that's why people voted for him. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Um, it's what people think of him as, and they're willing to forego everything like that if they can just have more money in their pocket. And he knows that too, dude. That's why he did the tax no tip, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, which I think is long overdue, right? And then he's talking about the Doge tax credits, right? Like as they recover this money to cut it back to the taxpayer. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm more on the side of like pay down the deficit, which they're worried of. Elon's talked about it. He says one of the biggest problems with the deficit now is the interest that we're going to pay on it. Right? The interest is ridiculously high. I think it's twice the size of our defense budget right now, and our defense budget is high, and that's just on interest on the payments we have to make for this deficit we have. So I would think it would be better for them to do that. But at the same time, I understand that people voted for him mainly because of the economy, and they just don't care anymore. Especially what happened the last 4 years. So like, dude, if you can put more money in my pocket, that's what I care about. Jaylon says the cost of living had nothing to do with who was president. It was a result of COVID. Every country in the world experienced inflation because of COVID. Wow, that's a loaded statement, Jaylon. That is a loaded statement. I would like to say really bad tax laws, anti-business, anti-business environments, right? Social programs, and that's a whole nother. I'm not discounting what you're saying, brother. I just say that's a rabbit hole right there. If we went down there, every country in the world experienced inflation because of COVID. Yeah, yeah, that's why you shouldn't have locked down. We shouldn't have locked down, dude. Mr. Kima says they were saying that Biden during the Pirates. Well, sorry, Mr. Kima. Hey, Mr. Kima, number one, welcome. Mr. Kima says they were saying that during Biden's presidency, and now they were still saying it in Trump. Trump is in office. What's the holdup? I thought Trump was going to take care of all this stuff. No, that's if you're talking specifically. Well, no, I can't say. Yeah, Mr. Kima, I'm not. That's true. You're right, bro. You're right, and that's on him. He needs to. He's moving at lightning speed, man. But he also made some really bold claims. I can't disagree with that, brother. 100%. That's on him. But I know he knows about it, man, because he's focusing on those 100 days. The 100 days. He's ultra focused on that. Like if he does, I'm just throwing this out there, guys. I'm not saying he's gonna do this, right? Don't quote me on this. See, like something happens where he does get money back, and he does get the $5,000 check that he was talking about. Like every taxpayer, boom, wakes up one day. You wake up in your account. Well, if you get direct deposit, $5,000 checks, right? That would have a big influence for a lot of people, right? That would be huge, politically speaking. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying. But I'm good point, Mr. Kimo, bro. Straight up, 100%, dude. That's on him now. Again, that was one of his strengths, man, and he has to deliver. For some people on the right, dude, they don't think that's fair, but that's the reality of it, guys. That's why they voted for him, dude. It wasn't because he has gray hair and I mean he lives that lifestyle, dude. So they believe that he can turn the economy around. I do like what the polls are showing, right? And then people are giving him time. But I'd say the sooner the better, Mr. Kima. 100 days. There will be a mutiny from corporations against Trump because their stock is plummeted. The only thing I'll go to balance that, Mr. Kima, is a lot of the corporations were going overseas, and that as well, and that's drying up because the economy is so bad, like globally. Like Jay said in his comment, every country in the world experienced that. Yeah, 100%, Jay, you're right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. That's why, but a lot. There's also corporations coming into the U.S. because of the tariffs and stuff like that, and we'll see how the tariff stuff goes. Um, I'm not a big proponent of tariffs. I mean, when I look at the way Trump wields them, I think it's pretty amazing the way he's able to do it. But he has that ability to. But once Trump is gone, dude, I don't think there's anybody that can do that. So we might have to go back to square one on tariffs again. Because I don't see anybody in the Republican Party or any conservative, anybody actually, in any form of politics that could occupy the office of the president that can wield tariffs on the way that Trump does. Because Trump don't care. And what I mean Trump don't care is he's not easily spooked. He's not easily. You saw what Canada tried to do. They tried to launch a 25% tariff on us, and he just raised that stuff to 50%. And there's reasons why he's doing that, guys. But at the end of the day, there is going to be casualties of the tariff war, right? But he sticks by his guns. If it was any other politician, I doubt they could do that. So it's just best, it'd be best for them not to even use tariffs at that point if they don't know how to wield it. He does. It's just like watching the Avengers, right? You see people get or even with the Infinity Gauntlet, man. Yet somebody. That's why I liked about Thanos and the Infinity War, is he's a person with purpose, right? He just didn't have the Infinity Stones. You can have that type of power, but not know how to use it, and he knew how to use it. I mean, sure, he was a psychopath, but at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, the Avengers won. right? Because you got a little bit too ultra focused. Again, never do that. Got too ultra focused on what his goal was, which is an interesting conversation to have, man. Because his whole thing predicated on the fact that wiping half of the population would cure all the ills of the world. Just like how we're talking now, some of the stuff that's being implemented and stuff like that. It's some of it is stopgap, some of it is necessary, others is you don't know, right? And it could be worse than it could be better. What? Oh, Greatness Awaits says 33 Immortals is out on Game Pass now. Oh my gosh, hold on, guys. I got another break. Sorry. Hold on. You know what, guys? Let me run this video really quick because I didn't realize we're in an hour. Um, and I'll get back to the comments, guys. I'm not gonna ignore it. I just got to let me share this really quick because I think this is really great. Because the purpose of this, we're supposed to talk about the Trump effect in Europe. And I think this pretty much shares it up. This is Marie Le Pen. I believe she's running for president of France. Let me full screen this. I'll run the video for you guys and make commentary, but I got to go do something really quick.
We find ourselves in the lovely city of Madrid at a time when the world and Europe are experiencing a historical acceleration. The election of Donald Trump cannot be analyzed merely as a simple alternation in a democratic country, nor even as the patriotic outburst of a nation that would rightly dismiss the forces of decay. We are facing a truly global tipping point. Hurricane Trump is sweeping across the United States, which for too long has been mired in unbearable and sterilizing political correctness. Links with the Trump administration are already being forged, naturally or by necessity, both in South America, such as Argentina and El Salvador, and in many other countries around the world, particularly in conflict zones. Everyone understands that something has changed.
Thank you.
On its side, the European Union seems to be in a state of shock. The new mandate of Ursula von der Leyen is struggling to take shape, and our deputies observe that the voting sessions are more akin to NGO activities than legislative work. Mrs. von der Leyen has all but disappeared from the screens, and on 20th of January in the United States had a knock-on effect on the occupants of the Berlaymont building and in the corridors of the European Parliament. It is true that on the Brussels side, all indicators are red. The energy policy is a fiasco and is dragging our economies down. The migration policy is spiraling out of control, and the endless pit of immigration is draining our resources and filling our prisons. The industrial sector is beginning to openly rebel against the absurd and suicidal mandates imposed by the Green Deal. Peasant uprisings are brewing in all our countries. The EU's reckless diplomatic and military postures seem like futile gestures in the void, lacking any real purpose. These ridiculous and dangerous positions jeopardize world peace and are fatal to the influence of European nations globally. Even the EPP is beginning to doubt the infallibility of its committee's dogma, and German and French business leaders, usually so conciliatory, are no longer hiding their anger. Today we are witnessing the emergence of a divide that we have long theorized in France and which was the basis of our successful European campaign: power versus degrowth. In reality, it was we, the patriots of the nations of Europe, who were right. We were right when, back in 2019, we refused to bow to the quasi-religious injunction of the Green Deal imposed by the German Greens on the whole of Europe. It is us who were right. We were right when we rejected the logic of the Migration Pact, which is a project for the programmed demographic submersion of Europe. That was us. We were right when we did not want to reduce Europe to a large market, but to consider our continental vision as a community of history and civilization, comme une communauté d'histoire et de civilisation, as an area of fraternal cooperation between our peoples, an entity of coordination and action respectful of each and fruitful for all. Et fructueuse pour tous. It is up to us to be the bearers of this European spirit, the spirit of discoverers and creators, of engineers and inventors who have contributed so much to the world. When the European Union's only dream is to disrupt the market, when its only value is a tinkering made of moralizing and bad feelings as a method, is drying up standards when its only horizon is the lowering of what Europe was. During its last term of office, the European Union sent our countries into a threefold decline: energy degrowth, like the ideological rejection of nuclear power; industrial decline in the form of a ban on internal combustion engines; agricultural decline, it is the reduction of yields and cultivated areas, and voluntarily and even authoritatively reducing our livestock numbers. And if that wasn't enough, the supposedly progressive European Union has left Europe by the wayside of all the great technological revolutions emerging on the threshold of this third millennium. Digital technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, and alternative energies such as hydrogen or substitute fuels. While professing globalism, it has shown no interest in the world's maritime routes, which are essential to our sovereignty of supply, allowing China to develop its Silk Roads project. Today, it is pushing for green fuels in air and sea transport, leaving control of these to other continents. In reality, the EU is not political. It is moralistic. It has no future vision, but only good feelings for the moment. The report draws attention, like the recent competitiveness compass, which carries a late and poorly followed admission of facts, that Europe is falling behind because of the European Union. So, what is MAGA? Make America great again. Otherwise, a call to power founded on nations, on each of our nations. Make no mistake about it. We must understand the message that the United States and indeed the world is sending us. MAGA has become the rallying call for these patriotic Americans. Once again.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm here. I'm back. Let's get through this video. Though that's a good. The reason why I'm doing this video is because this is the Trump effect on what's going on with Europe. Whether you agree or disagree, because I know probably a lot of you guys don't agree with it. But it's what's happening, right? It's the reality of it. A lot of people, again, when Trump won in November, the thought process of a lot of other countries was, okay, how do we get in line? Or they didn't like it, or begrudgingly had to meet with the president. A lot of them don't like him, don't like his policies, don't like that he's pro-American. But what happened, at least in that part, is because every continent on this planet is having issues, right? And they align along the same problems that we're having. Right? Because it's a basic problem of civilization, like what direction that you want to go, right? Do you want to push forward, or do you want to be stale, or do you want to go backwards? Is basically the three things that I see right now. And so a lot of the issues that we have, even though it has more of a European standard, but a lot of the issues that we have in America, they're having in Europe. And again, just remind you guys, Europe is not one big country, right? Europe is a continent, much like Africa, right? Africa is a continent, and within the continent is a lot of different countries, right? Unlike America, we're one nation because we have a lot of different states on the North American continent, right? So when Europe does things, to me, it's challenging because, they're not. It's not just like where we are, right? Where this is why we're a republic, right? We're a republic and we're governed by the Constitution, right? It's like because there's so many differences of opinion between California and Texas, or Tennessee and Minnesota, right? So this is why it's important. E pluribus unum, out of many one, and that's why that's our model. It's very important that we remember that, and we have to come to a consensus. And that way, this is why our individualism works. This is why our multiculturalism works, right? But the primary focus of multiculturalism, you can celebrate your culture, but remember you're a citizen of this country. You should keep that first and foremost, because, and it's all this like looks about the white power and white nationalism and all this kind of stuff. No, dude, it's because we have to come to a common consensus. Because me as a minority, being Polynesian, and Jay, I believe you're Hispanic, right? And or Jay, I don't want to assume. Sorry, I'll just use Hebot because we all know Hebot's right, Hispanic. Right, even though we're people of categorized of color. We might have differences of opinion because of where I grew up, or where I lived, or our experiences growing up and stuff like that. Right. That's why it's important, right, for people to have a common goal, because we can't have a common ancestry, guys, because America is predicated on immigrants, right? Regardless, and that's why I see a fault a lot of times, because a lot of people, when they talk about white, white is not just a color, dude. It's there's more to white people than just being their color, and there's like more to brown people than being that color. Right? And where I live, dude, it's just like there's differences between Asians as well, man. It's just like, you know, it's one of the gripes that people that are Chinese because just assume, or that people are Asian just assume everybody's Chinese. And that's not a racial thing. I'm just pointing that out, right? It's just the importance of, and one of our strengths with the importance of is the unity that we need to move forward as a nation. That's what sets apart from Europe. Europe needs to find that unity, but I don't know how they're going to do it. Right? That's why they cling so much to Western civilization and Western thought. Right? That's one of the things that they can cling to, right? But there's the powers that be, man. The new world order, they don't want that anymore. Right? They want to switch that. They want to change it. They want to change it up. And this is why you have someone like Marie Le Pen talking about it. And so that's why, again, when you see the MAGA thing and stuff like that, don't just turn off your ears, listen a little bit, right? It's because these people right now are like, okay, so if America's going to put America first, we need to put our country first. And I'm 100% for that. Like, to everybody out there that's in Canada, dude, you should vote for Poilievre. I'm probably saying his name wrong, sorry, but and I'm not saying I agree with everything he says or the way that the government is a totally different type of government. They're more socialist in Canada, right? But at the end of the day, you need a strong leader, especially if you have a president like Trump. Steel sharpens steel. You need strong leaders in your country. Japan needs to do that. South Korea, they need to shift and get leaders that will stand up for their country and their country's rights, right? And dealing in President Trump. That's why Modi did such a great job in India. Right? He understands the relationship he has with America, but he also is also thinking about the people in his own country, and that's what you need to do. I'm shocked by a lot of times I say that, and people are surprised. They're like, "Oh, I just thought you want the U.S. to take over." No, it's not like that, dude. It's not like that at all. Dude, what people in France, like Marie Le Pen saying right now, these people in France, the patriots in France, they need to stand up for French ideals, French philosophy, French government, the way it should be, right? Putting the people first. Right? Now, again, the difference between us and them is that they don't have our history. They have immigration and stuff like that, but like a lot of these other countries are predominantly the race and culture of which they stand for. Like America, we're a melting pot. So
again, proud of their country and sure of themselves, is interpreted by us Europeans as a challenge to power. It is a solemn warning to the European Union, urged to reconsider its declining agenda, and because it is one of the factors of our collapse. It's the immigration project. Yet this mental stronghold called the European Union, locked in its glass buildings and trapped in its globalist ideology, is it even capable? At a time when the world's center of gravity seems to be moving away from Europe, the Americans are saying, be strong. And to do that, be yourself. Reject the repentance and guilty conscience instilled by the wokists and doomsayers. Turn away from fatalism and resignation. Develop the hidden potential within you to benefit your societies, your nations, your civilization, and the world, the best of yourself. The result of the American elections should be the wake-up call for the old continent, which has fallen into a state of lethargy, and should accompany this great movement of regeneration that is about to begin. It should not be interpreted as a call for alignment, but as an invitation to follow the Renaissance movement that is emerging in many parts of the West, starting with the European countries that have national governments at their head. In fact, my friends, this challenge to our power is simply an exhortation to exist in the world that is coming. It is in the history that is being written. And in this new context, we, the national governments of Europe, are the only ones who can speak to the new Trump administration. Alongside the Americans, we respect each other, and as patriots, we realize that a leader is deeply committed to safeguarding their people. Everyone in our countries and collectively in Europe, our national parties are ready for this. Time is running out for us in this millennium that is upon us. which is seeing the natural awakening of the peoples of the world everywhere. Inventive and conquering people, people who believe in the future, and above all, in their own future, people who know, often because they have suffered it, that history does not do favors to the weak. We Europeans learned from history that Europe did not create power. It is the nations within that did. This power, the intellectual, scientific, artistic, and technological contributions that characterized our continent stems from the genius of our individual nations, not from a cold technocratic structure. Goethe in Germany, Hugo in France, Shakespeare in the UK, Da Vinci in Italy, Cervantes in Spain, Rembrandt in Holland, and Mozart in Austria, Chopin from Poland. They owe their prodigy only to the cultural and national melting pots that saw them born and that made them what they are today. There is no European people that has not produced geniuses whose intelligence has not enlightened the world and served the power and renown of Europe. Europe's influence is no accident of history, but the logical flowering of cultural diversity when it can express itself freely and naturally. The European Union, on the other hand, is a pump that works in reverse. It drains the sovereignty of our states to institutionalize impotence. It discourages the creative forces of our peoples in order to impose a stupid and above all infertile standardization on everyone. It erodes the spirit of builders discouraged by logics of limitation, prohibition, and deconstruction. At the end of the tunnel, we see light appearing, illuminating our public views that are increasingly open to a resurgence, a revival of vitality. That is a revival of life. With each new election in Europe, the dominoes fall one after the other, as if the political game were aligning itself in an inexorable movement. Astronomers who strive to perceive distant realities speak of the alignment of the planets. This shows, my friends, how immense our responsibility is, each in our own countries and collectively within the group of patriots. History is no longer unfolding, it speeds. It is accelerating. And because we are driven by the love of our peoples and our countries, we will be ready to take up this historic challenge. Long live France, long live Spain, long live the nations, long live the real Europe, long live the patriots for Europe.
Sorry, guys. I was gonna interject. I interjected once, but I wanted to let her cook. France would be well to elect her, especially since we have a president like Trump. They need somebody like her that's strong, and she is, because she's been kind of like how Trump is here. A lot of people have thrown dispersions at her character, at her background, at her history. Some of it, rightfully so. I mean, not as a personal affront to her, but there are connections to, if you do research on her with her dad and stuff like that. But a lot of these countries, again, man, they need people. They need a president that's pro-French, right? Because you're gonna have somebody like President Trump who's gonna be pro-American. You see that the stuff that he does. He's even doing it to people who are friends and allies, quote unquote. When it comes to some of the stuff he's doing with tariffs and other things as well, right? He's course correcting. But this right here, Rota Portal, I actually like them a lot. There's a lot of, if you think what's happening in the U.S. only in the U.S., this is happening all over the world. Right, it's happening in Japan, right? It's ideals, right? It's ideology too, but a lot of it's just ideals. It's people that have different perspectives when it comes to the way they feel their government should work and how the people should be governed, and that's within the people, right, as well. So it's happening all over. It's just that Trump sucks out all the air in the room. But I recommend, man. I recommend this site for some of you guys, man. I know you might not like it and stuff like that. You might have a right-wing twinge to it for you guys, but I go to a lot of. Like I listen to the Young Turks even before whatever they're going through is going through. Yeah, because a lot of times when it comes to conservatism and republicanism and stuff like that, dude, you can't tell me anything. I've been this way my whole life, right? And that's why a lot of stuff that Republicans done over the last couple of decades, I didn't agree with as well. I'm definitely a Reagan Republican, Reagan conservative. So if you guys didn't know, man, I mean, some of you guys might be old enough, but even Reagan was an outsider. That's why people try and make the correlations between Trump and Reagan, but they're two different people, especially in personality and belief system, man. Reagan was a Democrat, and he totally went Republican. Trump still has leanings. That's why I call him a populist. And I'm not Not to disparage him, that's just the way it is. But definitely check out this Portal, man. Rota Portal. It's good. I like this channel. But Marie Le Pen, man, I absolutely love her. She's pretty hardcore. It's something I think France needs right now for course correction. We'll see what happens. It's interesting to watch anyway. What was happening in Germany in the latest elections. Like there's some people that are disappointed because things didn't go the way they wanted to. I'm like, this is something that has to be built over time. It just doesn't happen overnight. Anyway, I'll get back to the comments, guys. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to shut anybody out here. I just wanted that. That was the whole purpose of me showing that I was going to do commentary on it. But I understand that I want everybody to have their everybody to have their say. Jay Long says Trump has precedent over Pelosi for calling the National Guard. He purposely didn't, and he famously didn't want metal detectors there. He does, but she was the Speaker of the House at the time, right? So that's why he was talking to her about it. Yeah, he's the commander in chief, but calling people into Congress. And he learned his lesson, Jay Long. That's why he's doing what he's doing, right? Because it's always damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Right? It doesn't matter what he would have done. If he would have called the National Guard in there, then he would have been what do you call it? A despot, right? Taking over. So there's no way he's going to win in that situation. But I will say that he's learned his lesson. That's why he's running roughshod over everybody now. Not saying if you agree or not. I'm just saying that's why he's moving at lightning speed right now. As warp speed, if you guys remember that was his one of the snafus he had during the COVID stuff. David says, "I'm just excited because my birthday is coming up, and well, politicians can be interesting in some ways." Hey man, happy birthday, David! If I miss you on that day, when's your birthday, bro? I'm looking forward to my birthday too soon. So let me know, dude. But happy birthday if I miss you. Yeah, I mean, I think politics is interesting, right? I mean, it's just the discussions around politics. So, and again, guys, it is what it is. I'm not going to be like over here shutting you guys down. I want you guys. I want to hear what you guys want to say. Whether I agree or disagree. Jaylon says Biden never did lawfare. This is just pure victim talk from Trumples. Biden investigated his own son and other Democrats like Menendez and Eric Adams. He also pardoned his own son, Jay. And that didn't surprise me. Look, I'm like, I knew. Look, dude, if it came down to to the nitty gritty of it all, dude, I knew. I don't agree with that, but I knew he was going to do that. There's no way he's going to prosecute his own son. He's been running cover for his son. I'm pretty sure he loves his son. In all fairness, I'm pretty sure he loves his son, right? But there's no way he's going to run roughshod over his own blood. Regardless, that didn't surprise me. It's just like you using that as an example, probably not the best one to use, bro. You know what I'm saying? Plus, again, the reason why the lawfare matters now is because we got to push back against it. When the majority of the people, in the Justice Department and these activist judges not doing their job, of course, when somebody else comes in and wants to set the record straight and get things back to good, of course, there's going to be pushback. The lawfare would affect this side more than it would affect the left, the right side more than the left side. And I'm ready to have that war, man, because I'm tired of these people doing this crap. Take your medicine, right? And then when the election comes back around, then make your voices heard. But I know one of the reasons why they do this because they're afraid, man. Once people realize, right, what's actually going on, dude, they'll never win again, and these people won't stop getting appointed. And then the whole demographic of opinion when it comes to politics changes, and that's how they lose their power. So I'm all for the lawfare war on my side, anyway. Mr. Kima says Trump lied. I assume to the Hispanic community saying that he wasn't going to deport innocent immigrants, innocent migrants. Gotta be specific, Mr. Kima. Illegal is not innocent. If you're here illegally, you're already breaking the law. I know his ultra focus has been on the crime, but again, like you see what happens, right? They're there to bust somebody, maybe from one of the gangs. Right, and then there's a person there, maybe doing business with him, and he's illegal, and then he gets caught up in it. Yeah, so you can say that. I mean, is he doing mass raids of everybody? No, I don't see that happening. Right? I mean, there's a lot of people here that are not here legally, and I see some people that are getting picked up. But now I could be wrong. Like I've been trying to look at that a lot. I've seen some people getting like this one guy who's going to get deported, but I think his situation. And one guy I saw, the news doesn't cover it like directly, Then I found out later on the reason why he got picked up because he was caught up in a raid. If they're out there going and grabbing people, I would say you're here illegally, dude. You gotta work on that. Especially for somebody like this one dude, he was in for like 20 years. He was here, man, and he didn't work towards his citizenship. And I think, yeah, he might pay a political price for that because there's people. I saw one guy in an interview. He voted for Trump even though he knew he could get deported because he wanted a better life for his child. Because his child was born here, so they're naturalized. But he was willing to go back. If he got deported, he got deported. But life would be better if he voted for Trump for his kids. I don't know, man. This whole thing is it's crazy, dude. It is crazy. But he's securing the border, which a lot of people want. Again, his poll numbers have only gone up, and people like his agenda. And plus, you also have to come into consideration of all the bad stuff that's happening when these guys are coming in illegally. If it was up to me, like I talked about it in the other video, dude, I like his $5 million gold card. I think he should raise it to 10 million, and I think they should be more selective in where they let immigrants in from. I would definitely do that. I support that. Um, Jay Long says Biden already turned the economy around. Trump inherited Obama's booming economy and messed it and effed it up. Biden fixed Trump's mess. No, I disagree. 100% disagree. Just the stats don't match that either. Especially after the last 4 years. That's why when you look at the positivity ratings, they're switching. They're higher now. And it depends on what end of the economy. I'll give you that, Jay Long. It depends on what end of the economy you are, but everybody's feeling it. Right? When people that have money do, when they stop buying, it affects the economy. When people's groceries go up, right? When people that can afford to pretty much buy whatever they want, usually not whatever they want, but normally the necessities don't affect them, right? Because they have the money. That's not even a thought. But when the necessities and then the stuff that they like, the stuff that like the caviar or the wagyu beef, stuff like that, right? They can buy those kind of things because they don't have to worry about all the other stuff. But right now, you have to start worried about everything, right? Eggs. What happened with the eggs? And that was directly a government decision. They killed all the chickens because it was quote unquote bird flu. Sorry, man, their track record on that stuff isn't high, so I don't give them a pass on that. That's why Trump fired that lady. Like I think that's the first or second person he fired. There's a couple people who fired, but I know it's top 10 when he went into office. He fired her, and they had to get people to remove her out of her office. Right? And the reason he fired her is because she's the one that called for the culling of all the chickens because it looks political. Personally, I think it is political. You can disagree with me. There was nothing wrong with the economy when Biden left. No, there was nothing wrong with the economy when Biden left office. Biden left Trump a good lots economy. Left Trump a good bro. Okay, Mr. Kima, man. Now I know you got money. Something's going on. Something going on, Mr. Kima. I mean, I probably have more. Customizable elite controller twos if the economy was good for me. Maybe we live in different price brackets. So I do consider myself middle class, but not so much anymore. I'm like on the line, maybe dipped a little below, depending on what happens. Like like when my bathroom needs to be, when the plumbing in my bathroom has to be redone, that dips me below the poverty line. And it's still recovering. I'm still recovering from that, dude. I just hope like when I took my car in, man, the dude did me a solid because my tires needed to be changed, but they could pass it. But he's like, look, dude, you need to change these tires, right? And then I didn't have to worry about that because if I had to change the tires, it was all four of them, dude, and that's like $2,000 for me where I'm at. Right, so he let me slide on that. Saving up the money now. But then, wham, I forgot registration came in. Then I had to do my Microsoft 365. That's the economy I'm in, brother. Doge is a lie. They recovered nothing. Well, it's not just about recovering stuff, dude. They did recover the money from New York, though. That was good. It's also about exposing stuff, right? Fixing things, right? Like some of the stuff they're fixing, dude, it's some of it's human error, so they're pointing that out. Others is, the systems need updating, and that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to fix Social Security, which I don't know why people are upset about that. You fix that, dude. If these checks are going to people, maybe somebody is gaming the system. That might be the case, or maybe it's just human error where they never corrected it. Either way, that money's disappearing in some place. You fix that, there's more money in Social Security, right? That's a good thing, right? Because when we retire, we want that Social Security. We paying into it. Is that bad, bro? Like, tell me, what's so bad about that? Fixing that kind of stuff, right? I don't see it. I don't see a negative, right? Like the VA right now, dude. I do VA. I'm a veteran. I got VA, right? And you have some people upset, and right, and and I think but when I see people complaining about it, there's two folds of it, dude. There's bad actors. I'll call that out, number one. But there's actual veterans, right? And some of their frustration isn't as what's happening now. It's been what's happening for the last 20 years with the VA. Right? Even when Trump came in office, he made some changes, man. But it's such a big organization, and it's a government program. For me, it'd be kind of better if they just supplement my medical as a veteran, disabled veteran. If you're gonna do that, I think that'd be at this point in time. I think that'd be better monetarily, right? Because I do that now, dude. I just can't go to the VA for my medical, right? I can't rely on them, dude. It's hard to get appointments, right? Everything has to be service connected, and then I have to go outside. When I have to do claims, I have to file from outside, right? Because they send you to the people that they'll send you to the people to do your evaluations, man, and it's a waste of time. I talked to one guy. I'm like, hey, dude, if I'm having spinal issues, which I am, why are you not using the documentation provided by the chiropractor that you're sending me to, right? And they're like, oh no, we have to send you to a specialist who has no idea of my condition, right? And it's like you go see these people, you're trying to give them all that history. At some point in time, they don't care. They just make their assessment, and then usually you don't get your rating increased. Stuff like that. So I understand the frustration, but it's not just happening because of what's happening now. It's a culmination of stuff that's been happening for years. And again, there are bad actors. Like there's this one video of this dude going around screaming at a thing. He was there to just be a disruptor. You can tell he lost his temper. Like I can understand you losing your temper, especially as a veteran, right? But he was like that from the jump, dude. It was all for camera. And then you find out this dude's a Democrat. He ran for office. He lost twice, and he's just trying to stir the pot. And then you hear people in there crying. Some of them agree with them, right? But again, it's not the frustration of what's happening now. It's the frustration that's been happening with the VA. And I can speak to that firsthand because that's what I'm a disabled vet too, and it is frustrating. I can understand any veteran, right? I've seen what the new secretary of the VA is talking about, the new department head, and we'll see, man. Let's see if we can do it. I mean, there's nothing but upside because the way the VA is now, there needs to be some corrections. Even when Trump was in the first time, he made some pretty good things, right? But at the end of the day, man, that bureaucracy is a killer. That's why they're dragging it back down to 2019 levels. J Long says Trump's tax law was literally in place for the entirety of Biden's presidency. Lockdowns happened under Trump. Yeah, there's not everything, but some stuff was. And then also some of the stuff we had with China, the decoupling thing. He kept those in place, which I was surprised. Probably the best thing he did because we need to decouple from China. We're too reliant on them. Lockdowns happened under Trump. True too. Though I would say that if Trump was still in office in 2020, it wouldn't have got to the levels that it did. How people lost their jobs and stuff like that. He wouldn't allow that to happen. But yeah, 100%, dude. Operation Warp Speed was his stuff. Which again, this is what the Democrats. It blows my mind that they don't bring this stuff up. Right? Again, because they're too ultra focused on him being a Nazi, dude. There's actually stuff that they can use against Trump. I'm talking in a political sense, guys, that they could use against him, but they're so ultra focused on his hate. Their hate towards him, man. They can't think clearly. But yeah, 100%, Jay. It did. That was the president. Biden left Trump. Hey, Goldilocks economy. Trump didn't have to do anything but ride that wave. No, he has to do something, Mr. Kima. Right? That's why people voted for him. Voted for Trump. They want change with the economy. They want the cost of living to be lowered. Right? Now, if he does that or not, right? If you look at the economy right now, some of the stuff with the terrorists and what he wants to do, I think he needs to be. I'll agree with you this way. I think he needs to be cognizant of the fact that people want it done now, whether that's fair or not. That's what they want done now. That's why they voted for him. The majority of people. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Goldilocks economy. I don't know what you're talking about that way, bro. Like I said, maybe we're in different tax brackets, brother. Yeah. Because I was feeling every inch of that for 4 years, and it didn't feel good. I'm glad he's gone. once the energy stuff, they have to fix that. Um, Again, man, I'm not against green energy, dude, but if you're coming preaching to me that green energy is what we need to move to when there's no, evidence that shows that it can support the population that we have now, that's why everybody's suffering, dude. That's why in the uh, uh, Le Pen's the video we just watched, right? That's why she mentioned that green energy, dude. That's a cult, bro. Even if it was destroying the environment on the level that they say it is, dude, that still doesn't get around the fact that people are paying high energy costs, man, and people are suffering because of the high energy costs. Like you have to come up with a better solution. Again, this is why a lot of the tech companies shifted to Trump, man, because they want to do these data centers, man, and they're creating quantum chips and they're going into quantum computing that could blow up the reality as we know it, right? But they need energy for that, dude, and windmills and solar power is not going to cut it. And they don't want to have total egg on their face because of all the hate that they've been peddling towards fossil fuels, right, and the oil industry, right? So what are they pushing for? Nuclear energy, which when I was growing up, dude, up until like 10 to 15 years ago, nuclear energy was evil. And now you see how people are shifting. Dude, it's crazy. That's why you got to keep your head on a swivel, guys. People have their own agendas as well. Mega is a party of not neonazis and white people that all hate minorities. You talking about MAGA is a party of neo Nazis and white people that hate all minorities? No, disagree. There's a lot of people of color in the MAGA movement. I call it a movement. I don't call it a party. It's a movement, right? Like if you ask me what party I belong to, it's Republican. Christian conservative Republican. That's my political profile. Christian first, conservative second, Republican third. Because I do believe in a two-party system. But MAGA is not a party, brother. It's a movement. That's why you see so many people going in and out of it. So many people coming over. People that have discrepancies with each other, how the country should be run. Because you can't be on the left and have an opinion. It's the problem. That's why MAGA is the big tent now. This side of the aisle is the big tent. Dude, you have people like Ann Coulter. And then you have people like Anna, what's her name? Jeez, I can't think of her name. Or what's his name? Cenk Uygur, whatever his name is. Right? You have people across the board, dude. You have a bunch of technophiles, dude, that are far left or far left, dude, and they're in this side, right? Because their interests aren't respected anymore. Because what ended up happening is the left, you guys cannibalize yourself. Oh, I'm not okay. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling that. But people on the left. If you don't toe the party line, dude, they'll come after you, man. That's why a lot of these people left and came over to the other side, or to the MAGA movement, not to the right, but to the MAGA movement. Because MAGA movement has everybody and their uncle in that movement, dude. There's a lot of people in the MAGA movement. I don't say a lot, but there's people in the MAGA movement that I don't agree with politically. But at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, well, they're here, right? I'm not gonna be a prick and kick them out. Well, number one, you just can't kick people out. That's not what the movement is about. That's why I said it's not a party, brother. It's a movement. There's people that was like, you saw the little kerfuffle that happened with those technophiles and the people that are more America first, right? With the H-1B ones. That was an actual thing, right? Because that's the only way you can have these discussions on this side, dude. If you're on the left, man, and you go against any type of a sacred cow that they have over there, dude, you'll be excommunicated, bro. They're like a religion over there. So I mean, you can say that whatever, bro, but no, it's not. Number one, it's not a party; it's a movement, brother. David Cohn says you were right. I missed to use the words corruption by twisting and making it sound like the same as being evil. Sorry about that. I wish X-Fault would apologize to Bruv with a real apology. He did. What he said? You were right. I misused the words corruption by twisting and making it sound like the same as being evil. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. No worries, David, dude, don't just like I like the correction, but it's not a correction for me, bro. It's like you're just correcting what you said. I get it. Fine. It's not, dude. Just speak your piece on here. I wish X-Fault would apologize to Bruv with a real apology. He didn't. Oh, what happened? What happened, David? X-Fault? Who's X-Fault, bro? I never heard that, but let me know, dude. What's up with that? People like follow the laws of USA and enter. They will not be deported. If you don't, you will be. Yeah, and it's been allowed to go on for so long. That's the problem, right? And Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Also, I don't agree with just people that are like privileged now. Right? You should be a little bit more. I don't know, dude. I don't like that attitude that people have, man. It's just like, bro. I mean, you've been in the country, maybe kind of adhere yourself to the laws, or just be appreciative, man. You know what I mean? For the most part, and you see, man, there's a lot of Americans who sympathize. There's a lot of Americans that agree with not all Americans, but there's quite a few Americans, man, that agree with allowing the people to stay, a pathway to citizenship. Right now, Reagan did that in his time. That didn't work out well. It got worse. Democrats weaponized immigration, right? So for me, it's like we got to do full stop right now, right? But I threw this out there, man. I even I forgot who I wrote. Somebody in the cabinet, man. Because I commented on their Twitter thing, and I wrote, it'd be great, man, if Trump, if like say Trump somewhere, man, and he comes across somebody who's an illegal immigrant, but they voted for him, right? And then he tells Trump, "Hey, I voted for you, man, but I'm getting deported. But my family, I did it for my family." And Trump would be like, "Oh, that's cool, man. Oh, you know what? You can stay." And the reason I say that, dude, I'm not making light of the situation, guys. The reason I say that is that it'll throw everybody off their game, which is what he does. It'll throw people on his side off their game. Like, it'll be like this whole thing going back and forth. Then Trump will go in and like 25 tariff Pakistan or something like that, right? And then bomb some more Houthis, right? Dude, again, sorry, that's me being facetious, man, because I just see that, like the way he does things, man, and just people aren't able to either keep up with them or people don't realize how he does it. It's crazy to me. But if he did that, I would be like, I actually wrote, I said, you should do that, right? You should do that. I said, oh, how many illegal immigrants voted for me? And if they raise their hand, right, and then he'd be like, all right, you can be citizens, pathway to citizenship, bro, you U.S. citizen. Right? I would be like, oh, dude, that would be so cool. And then if you ask that question, be smart, right? Even if you didn't vote, man, there's no way they can check. Just raise your hand, right? Just be like, bam, I did it, right? Like, I'm not, look, dude. I just think that would be like some boss move to do, right? And just to throw everybody off their game, dude. If you know one thing about him, dude, he keeps you on your toes. That's why these people don't know how to react with him. Like in Canada, dude, he's doing the terrorist, dude. They didn't know if he's being serious. He throws out the 51st state thing, which I don't think he's being serious, but I don't know, man. There's that 10% that nobody knows for sure, right? And that's why they can't react. And it's a lot of times they don't react enough or they overreact because they don't know how to take in, right? And the best thing that you could do in those situations is just focus on your country, what you need to do. Again, this is why I promote some of these people like Marie Le Pen and Povier, and then the people in Germany that trying to course correct, even in the Norwegian states and stuff like that. You need these people. If they're being labeled as right wing, man, you have to take a look at them, right? Because 10 to 1, they want what's best for the country. They want their nationalism to come forward, right? And they're fighting against the new world order. So you would want to support these people, right? That'll put their people first. So when Trump comes around, right, whipping his 25, 50/75% tariff threat, right? If you good in your country, right, then you can you have a better bargaining chip. Is what I'm trying to say. That's what I would do. Pepe says, why they can't make 0 cents? Yeah, Pepe. I mean, it's all politics at the end of the day, too. That gets weaponized. I see what you're saying, especially for people that have been here 20 plus years, dude. They should. And then immigration law, dude. Nobody's talking about that. Yeah, I think we should work on our immigration laws across the board, man. Like, I think America should get to pick and choose who they allow into the country and who don't. Like, who's going to make the country stronger, right? It's like the whole debate with the H-1B and people from India. The only problem I have with people that are coming over here, dude, is that their allegiance isn't to the country. So that should show. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're not coming here to destroy it, but a lot of people will come here to work, but they still want to have affiliated or live in their country. And other countries do this as well. And I think you have to look at that too when you do a lot of the visas. Like, you can have specific visas for people, right? Because a lot of the money that people from overseas make goes back to their economies in their countries, right? And the debate can be had about that, but we need to even look at that. We're not, it's not just about people crossing the border illegally. That's one of the big problems, but it's multifaceted as well. Like, I'm not a pathway to citizenship type of person, but at the end of the day, man, maybe do the immigration laws to help people get on the legal status again, especially people that are producing in the country, right? So you just can't. It's not a one size fit all. Dude. That's the scalpel that they're talking about. Right now they're doing the hatchet and now they're doing the chainsaw. Screw the hatchet. You saw Elon Musk go on stage with a chainsaw. You know what his thing is all about. That's why they had that little scuffle in the cabinet, right? With Elon. Elon's not in the cabinet. He's outside. He's an advisor. So he's a contractor you hire to come in and look at what's going on, and he makes recommendations. But at the end of the day, it's the government department heads that'll make those choices, and some of the people have to remind him of that, right? Because there is a process, and I do support that process. Xfall, there's some pony who called Burra PDF, but instead of apologizing, he doubled down on it by continuing to be crude to Bro. Oh yeah. Okay, that's that dude. But he's actually a pony, right? Yeah, I know you're talking about now, David. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I like Bro, man. The reason I like Bro is, like he has this PlayStation. Like he didn't disown PlayStation, but he's just a gamer trying to have fun, right? And he did a great video about Xbox. I think a lot of people that come over to the Xbox sides have that realization. Because if you're a gamer at the end of the day, it'd probably be a good idea to have an Xbox. I don't know if you guys saw what's dropping in March, but it's going to be huge. The rest of March, and then April is looking to shape up to be really good as well. I think we're getting not 33 Immortals. That's that other one, Tower of Power. Dang, let me know in the comments, dude. I know it's the Tower one. Mr. Kima says Trump is one of those old hits from the 1950, where minorities then have a say in government. Where? You mean like he's a throwback to the 50s where minorities didn't have a say in government? Is that what you mean, Mr. Kima? I don't know. His track record showed that he's helped a lot of minorities prior to him getting involved in government. Very liberal in his younger years. Very liberal. Let me see. Trump wants white men to have the government jobs that were vacated. I don't know, bro. If you look at his cabinet, dude, it's not just white people. He wants the best person for the job. If you're white, so be it. If you're not white, so be it. He doesn't look at that. He looks at performance, dude. That's why Vivek Ramaswamy is in there. That's why Elon's there. Elon's an American citizen, but he's from South Africa originally. Tulsi Gabbard, who's not white, right? What's his name? Who's that other guy? Can't think of his name right now, dude. I can see his face, man. I think of his name. And then you got Marco Rubio and Cubano. Right. For me, it's more like what can you do, man? What like for me, I'll disagree with people on my of my ethnicity, right? Because I don't share the same ideologies as they do, especially politically. So that, dude, at the end of the day, it should boil on he needs the people around him that's going to implement his plan, and he needs the people around him implement his plan as the best of their ability. And if they can't cut it, man, regardless of what the color is, dude, then they'll be gone. That much I know about it. If you look at 2016 and who he had around him, and 2024 who he has, or whatever, 2025, who he has around him now, dude, very different cabinet, very different philosophies. And I'll say this firsthand, 2016, man, the Republicans stabbed him in the back. They did it both ways, those that fought against him and those that didn't support him all the way like they said they would. This is why Nikki Haley's outside of it, Chris Christie, Mike Pence, a lot of those guys, dude, they play politics, and Trump was beyond the politics. And he's definitely beyond now. He went ultra mega MAGA. Elon's grandparents were Canadian Nazis along with his parents. Oh, he's from Canada? I thought he was from South Africa. My bad. I thought he was. That's what I hear. He was from South Africa. If he's Canadian, then okay. My mistake. Thanks for clearing it up. But I thought he was from South Africa. Dang, guys, it's been 2 hours, man. All right, guys. So that's all I pretty much have for you. Thank you, everybody in the commentary and everybody sticking by. Again, I know, man, a lot of you guys, we have a lot of differences in opinion because our politics are different. But I appreciate everybody coming on. Because I can't have these conversations with a lot of people. I have to kind of search it out. So that's why I'm doing it on my channel. Even if you disagree with me here, you're more than welcome to be here. And again, it's just the respect factor at the end of the day. But man, a lot of you guys make great points as well, dude. Look, and then some of this stuff we don't know, right? My whole point of doing this is just to say, look, let's keep an open mind in a sense, right? Definitely don't listen to the mainstream media, dude. I mean, if there's one thing you gotta understand. If you guys are Xbox guys, you guys know the gaming media is the same way, right? It's they don't have your best interest at heart, man. It's better for you to go out and search it. And I know that's scary, man, because there's times you're gonna be wrong. You know, I try and stay in my lane, but a lot of times I'm gonna have to venture outside of what I feel comfortable with, man. I'm gonna make mistakes. Just like Mr. Kima, man. I was pretty sure I read that he was from South Africa, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the whole lineage of Elon Musk. I know I follow his mom on X. I follow him. Uh, but if he's Canadian, bro, well, I learned something new. My bad. Right? I mean, I'm not ultra focused on his heritage, though. I will say South African, very especially the whites in South Africa, they're very entrepreneurial. So I would assume that that's why he has that drive. And then there's a whole thing going on in South Africa, dude. Like, I don't get it. They're from Hawaii, and the biggest minority in Hawaii is actually Hawaiians. So, you know, I feel for people that are in those positions, but it is what it is. So, um, did I miss anything? No, I think I got it covered and everything like that. So yeah, so again, Trump's effect in Europe. I'm gonna do more videos like this, as you can see by the speech. I just want to wrap it up with this. You can see by the speech that Marie Le Pen gave, talking about, you know, that's why they're calling them patriots, because they're called nationalists, and nationalists have a bad tinge there for some reason. I have no problem with somebody being nationalist, right? In fact, I think most people should be nationalists. You should care about your country and the direction your country is going. In the United States of America, the great things we have the Constitution, and that's what we should be ruled by, right? The president fills a position like the branch, like the legislative branch or the judicial branch. Everybody has their part to play, and the system was set up that way so everybody could have a say as best as possible. No government, because it's man-made. No government is perfect, but we're pretty darn close in my opinion. Right? We have representation, right? A lot of times, for some of you, I won't say for some people out there, I can't speak to everybody in here. Right? But one of the problems I have when I'm not talking in forums, where people talk about stuff, but they're not involved, or they don't know how to get involved, or they're just talking about stuff but not actually looking at what they can do to change it. Right? And I'm not saying you have to be an activist, go out there and sit and stuff like that. No, just know the Constitution, right? Know some fundamental stuff. You know, we don't teach civics in school anymore. You really need to, right? And so know the fundamental basis of what the country is based on, right? Just for the simple fact that it's like, look, dude, if you're an Xbox guy and you claim to be an Xbox guy, dude, you should know a little bit of the history of Xbox. Like if somebody asks you what's the game that made Xbox who it is, and then everybody should say Halo. Everybody should know it's Halo. Well, I know the Gears guy will disagree with me, but it's Halo, right? At the end of the day, it boils down to Halo, right? Just basic stuff that you should know to understand like why things should work the way that it are, that they should, and then also, you know, to kind of defend yourself from when people are bad actors coming into this, dude. Our government is out of control. It's been out of control for a long time, dude. This is the course correction. And then people attack me because, oh, you just want to be right, you know, you just want to have your way and then be right. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that, dude. Either if we don't fix it now and take our medicine now, we're gonna have to deal with it later. And when we deal with it later, if it continues, man, it'll collapse, and then we're all in trouble, right? That's the reality of it, dude. Like you just can't sit there. For example, you just can't sit there and let China run roughshod all over the globe, right? This is why he's getting involved in Panama. This is why he's getting involved in Greenland, right? This is why he's doing tariffs, man. Because a lot of people, if you look at the trade imbalance for a lot of the countries we deal with, granted we're more rich, but he's not asking for all of. It's not like you see something in a movie where the king just wants 90%, 99.9% of the crops and doesn't care if the commoners starve, right? Yeah, that's not in America's best interest to do that, and that's not what we're doing anyway. What we want is fairness, right? Now he's ultra focusing on this, right? Because we have a deficit issue. That's why he's looking at it, dude. So that's why it's a little bit heavy-handed. I'll give you guys that. But 25% when somebody's charging you over 200% on stuff, right? That's a trade imbalance, and that's what he's trying to use the tariff as, to bring balance back. He's trying to bring balance back to the force, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether he's going to be Anakin, you know, like whether he's going to be Anakin Skywalker going Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker going the way of the Jedi, that's another story. But you have to wait, right, guys? We have to wait to see if that happens or not. I think it's in our best interest to deal with it personally. Because again, dude, if we don't deal with it now, it's just something to deal with down the road. right? And I have children, so I like to see them, have a shot at stuff the way I was able to, right? My station in life when I was born to where I live now, I'm not rich by any means, but I do have the advantage of the system actually working for me, and I want that same advantage for not just my kids, everybody, right? But I am a dad. So anyway, let me wrap it up, guys. Mr. Kima, man, thank you. Appreciate the insight, brother. David, you too, man. Just hey, no worries, bro. Speak your mind. Pepe, man, thank you for being here as well. I think we're probably on the same page a little more. Jay, man, it's good hearing from you, brother. Man, drop it on the Xbox. Do you still game, bro? I see you on Instagram, man. I drop stuff on your. Well, I don't comment, but I see your post, man. Looks like you're having a good time. I saw you went to Japan, brother. Hope you had a good time. That's where my kids are right now. They're in Japan. They went back. They love it over there, dude. I hope you had fun. Looks like you had fun, bro. I think that's one thing we can agree on, man. I think we both love anime. Are you watching Solo Leveling, bro? That show is freaking ridiculous. I love it. Greatness awaits, man. Thanks, brother, for being here. I'm gonna go download 33 Immortals right now. I had no idea. I thought it was releasing. Wait a minute, is today 18th, dude? It is, right? It was today. It was supposed to release. Okay, I'm gonna go download and check it out. I can't do anything, guys, man. I'm not. I'm in pain. I took some medicine right now, so that's helping. But I can sit down, then I gotta lie down, then I gotta move around. I also gotta walk around, so I don't get stiff. Dude, it's crazy. It sucks. Don't get old. Or if you get old, man, do preventative care, guys. Uh, Go out there and don't kill yourself when you go to the gym, man. But do preventative. Do stuff that'll help build you up your base. Work on your core. Work on your base. I wish I would have done that. I didn't. I'm paying for it now. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anything else, man? I think that's everybody, right? Yeah, that's everybody. But Jay, man, again, thanks for stopping in, bro. It's good to hear from you, buddy. I haven't talked to you in a long time. But I'm gonna do a podcast later on in the day, guys. And the podcast is gonna be about because I gotta use this chair. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be doing the podcast if I didn't have to use this chair. This year I have the lumbar support I need. Just click it in and then boom, it's right there, dude. It takes all the pressure off my back. I wish you know what I want to get? I wanted to get one of those anti-gravity chairs. That's the one I wanted to get, man. Those things are so expensive. And then the ones I see now, I'm just too big for them, dude. I can't fit in those things. But that's what I really need to help my back. It's a constant crush I know on my back here, 24/7. But yeah, dude. So later on, podcast coming up, and I'm going to talk about Ubisoft in particular. We covered that in the podcast we did this weekend, but this is going to be 100% uncut, totally all about Ubisoft. It's going to be fun. Not as deep as this stuff that we're going into right now. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming by. Xbox Online channel. Host Sega Forever. We out.